Pokémon Unite has always had the potential to completely disrupt the MOBA game industry. So when Pokémon Unite 2.0 releases fully for China, what will happen? The Chinese beta for Pokémon Unite might be the saving grace or the death blow to Pokémon Unite. And whichever one it is, we will have to find out for ourselves, as Timmy is giving us absolutely nothing. So let's jump through why I believe the global fans of Pokémon Unite may be the winners if the Chinese version hits our shores, or why we might bitterly remember this as the day Pokémon Unite was truly killed. So what do we know about Pokémon Unite 2.0? Now, we know that there's been a bunch of new maps created by Tencent and Timmy for Pokémon Unite 2.0, and these are specifically shown in the form of mini-games. There's Boss Rush, and there's Tower Defense mode, and now there seems to be the Snowball mini-game where we run around as a snowball, and there seems to be another mini-game where you hit an electrode to the other side of the map, and it's like floor is lava, but the electrode is the floor. Really strange, looks super fun though. Would really like to try these things. Looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. And the major map change we've seen is actually a change to remote stadium. Now, there's no score limit. That's a whole different thing. We'll talk about that in a second as well. And yeah, they've made a lot of changes to the mobs on the map, so the same Pokemon aren't going to be there as before. Now, there's new gameplay mechanics. We were just saying this, there's no time limit, there's a score limit as well. You reach a certain score in the game and the game will end, and there's no time limit anymore. I think personally these are great changes, something that we are missing desperately from the current game. Now, this is something that has received a lot of backlash. People are not super happy with that, and people are also kind of interested. We'll have to see where it lands when it comes out in China, but for now, I would be very excited for that. There's new battle items and held items in the game. You might be able to go over a few. One I know for sure that you might have seen is these balloon items where they send you into the air. Very interesting, and everyone gets an eject button on their score button as well, which is super interesting. There's going to be also new held items. We're not too sure about how they work exactly, but it does seem that they're using some sort of gacha system to redeem the held items now. Very interesting. Lots of different elements, and the objectives work differently. We're not too sure exactly how like these Regielekis and Registeels and Rotom and everything plays in, so gonna be lots of fun to see how that all works out. And Rayquaza, or Zapdos in this case, now joins your team and goes to the goal zones and sprays it with like lightning, and then you can instantly score. Very interesting. I don't know how it would work with the current Rayquaza, or if they want to incorporate that element at all. Looks like a very fun and interesting concept. Now, there's new gameplay elements as well. The Pokemon have been reworked. I've seen several Pokemon evolve at earlier points, which is a very big change. I saw all three of the Kanto starters evolve at level 7, which is completely mind-blowing. And you also have to put in that they're getting new abilities and moves, and this move selection process has changed. It seems that there's a menu inside the game where you select this little buff that you're going to get on the plus upgrade of the move. Very interesting, super fun. Looks like it's lots of fun as well. And there's emblems now. There's like this little score wheel of emblems, and after a certain amount of scoring, you get an emblem perk upgrade, which seems like a good reward in progression and actual like winning power if you're ahead in the game. Once again, really strong, really nice things. There's a lot of quality of life changes as well. We're gonna go over them just briefly, and that's mainly draft and ranked. Like I cannot believe it's happening, but yes, they have draft and ranked now at a certain rank. This is the things we've been clamoring and screaming about, and they've answered in the Chinese version. Super nice, super good. And of course, you've probably seen the lobby in every single YouTube video, or even their own promotional video. You have a lobby with the fully functioning models of the Pokemon with the suits, with the skins, running around everywhere. It looks great. So, why is it good for Pokemon Unite? Well, right away, the gameplay. I mean, this is an extreme gameplay shift, extreme changes in gameplay. I think they're great. This moves us closer to a traditional MOBA, and people know how to balance traditional MOBAs. You have the proof in the pudding in Dota, in League of Legends, in Smite. You can go on forever about all these type of MOBA games. They have them balanced. They have found ways to survive. Maybe now Pokemon Unite can move more in line and see the characters that are overpowered and characters that are underpowered and balance them in line. So having no timer, having no score limit, creates this huge element where players are going to know when the game ends with the idea, oh, okay, instead of like waiting out this timer, I need to take this Zapdos and walk down the lanes and see what happens. Looks like there's going to be a lot more push towards fighting in the game. Maybe score comps will have a resurgence as well. Either way, there's going to be fresh variety, really fun, really new stuff happening. Looks great. Now, the move upgrades, we don't know how that's going to affect the game entirely, but it looks once again like another solid change, and people are really going to be able to enjoy having a bit more variety. It doesn't look like you get to choose between 1 to 2 upgrades per final move. Now, of course, we're not 100% sure of exactly what's happening, but this is just a preliminary rough. That's what I've seen in the gameplay. And the scoring, giving permanent upgrades, once again, it's adding these multi-tiered leads. If you're get ahead in score and you're ahead in levels, it's not going to feel like, oh, okay, I die once, I give the enemy level 13 and they're equal with me. No. We already got all those scores, and because we were ahead by scoring, the levels might not matter as much. Now, maybe that extra 10% lifesteal I get for scoring, I don't know if that's a perk, but like imagine that now. You're getting these whole different type of buffs for actually making differences and impact on the map. It's insane. It looks really nice in that element. The quality of life changes, absolutely essential. Draft and ranked. Do I need to mention more? This basically fixes, you're getting a ban, you're getting pick bans as well. It's just insane. It's absolutely crazy that they're doing this for the Chinese version. And to me, if we don't get this, it's a robbery, right? It's an absolute robbery. You have to write it off. You have to be upset because this is something that we've been clamoring and wanting for so long, and it is an essential change in this game. Now, of course, the gameplay graphics and the animations all look cleaner, all look smoother. The dozen maps, there's going to probably be more skins. Who knows, but it does all look better in the Chinese version. And once again, the screens and systems of the game just look well put together this time. It doesn't look like it's in rushed, it doesn't look like a beta, it doesn't look laggy, everything is seamlessly working on the phones that they're running it on. I guess the question is it going to work for the Switch? Who knows? Switch 2.0 is around the corner, maybe not. These are all things to consider. But that's why I think this is incredibly good for the current state of Unite. And why do I think it's so bad if we don't get these features? Well, I think right away, you have to ask, is there some sort of like isolation like from our developer because they're a Chinese developer? They might want to make this a Chinese MOBA game. And similar to Honor of Kings, like they want to go towards this model, they know how it works, and they want to go away from what they've been currently doing for China because maybe they think, oh, we're more experienced in China and this won't work in this market. But that makes me think, maybe, look, that's got me questioning, hey, look, like Honor of Kings, like is their game, they're getting 100% of the royalties, they don't get all the royalties here, maybe this is an inside job, I don't know, that's a whole question to ask in itself. But yeah, maybe don't want to touch the iceberg too much on that one, but yeah, it could be some type of China treatment. We know that games there have been renditioned and changed to be run more suitably in their economy and in their governance. Now, these quality of life changes that have been requested for so long, they're actually getting added into the game. So getting them added to the Chinese version, like you have to wonder, why are they not getting added to the global version if they don't get added? And, you know, if they were afraid of the backlash, if they're afraid of our community being upset at these changes, for example, dropped in ranks, they left us with Mewtwo and Zacian for 5 months. Surely they can't, surely you can take a few barbs on Twitter now about draft. Surely, right? Or maybe you change the game. No one's gonna leave. Dude, they left us in a cage, boxed in, battling Zacian and Mewtwo X and Y for days on end, weeks on end, months on end. And we endured it, we got beaten down. I don't think them changing the map and changing a little bit of how the gameplay works is gonna really, like, you know, destroy everyone's mind here in the West. We're stronger than that, and I hope they think that we're as strong as that too. And when you're adding features, like, you have to imagine the developer that has developed this game has not gone and sat down and said, okay, Pokemon Unite is perfect, we should send out a completely different game in China. It just doesn't work that way. Someone in the office has said the key lines. This game isn't good enough or could be better in another region. And they've changed the game around that. China has mainly had games changed around monetization policies or political progressions, right? Where there makes no sense. Absolutely zero sense to change the gameplay if it was all right. The gameplay isn't completely changed, guys. Don't let anyone put wool over your eyes. Gameplay is completely changed. So Someone at Timmy thinks the game stinks here in the global version and wanted to make a better version in China. And maybe that's because China is the money market. They do make the most money for mobile games. It is the highest grossing market for video games in general. So maybe they wanted to make that adjustment over there, but many games just release the same ideas, but with different monetization policies in China, never gameplay differences. So you have to think someone here has said, hey, look, like, what's happening? And I mean, now we can't even get China in the World Championships if the game is going to be so different. So I think that would be a huge loss. I personally would be very excited to see the Chinese esport orgs put their good try at this, maybe some Bilibili gaming, some Weibo gaming, and we'll actually get some high competition and a lot more exposure for Pokemon. So in conclusion, I'm all for Unite 2.0, but this 2.0 needs to be brought closer in line with the vision of Pokemon Unite globally. You don't hear of League of Legends being completely separate in China and then from the West. They play on the same patch, they play the same game. You don't hear about Dota being separate. If Pokemon Unite wants to be the game it desperately craves to be, the award-winning MOBA, which could break the genre in the world, I mean, it's pretty obvious what needs to happen. They need to bring this more in line. And if you're interested in more Unite lore, you know, watch this video, or maybe you want another video, so watch this one instead. Alright guys, cheers.